Ambassador Elena Maris sat motionless in the cold, sterile chamber on Luna, the holographic image of the Galactic Council flickering before her. The room hummed with quiet tension, the air thick with polished diplomacy and thinly veiled threats. She had spent years mastering this art, the delicate balance of words, silence, and subtle power plays. Today, however, the facade of civility felt brittle, on the edge of fracture. Her communicator buzzed faintly, drawing her attention to a direct message from Earth Command. Elena activated it, and the screen exploded with disturbing footage. A Martian colony square, bathed in the harsh red light of the planet's sun, lay devastated. Small bodies, many unmistakably children, sprawled across cracked concrete. Smoke curled lazily from scorched ruins. Plasma scorch marks stained every surface. The unmistakable sound of gunfire echoed faintly beneath the grim visuals. Elena's breath hitched, but her face remained a mask of calm. The broadcast came from an independent survivor's feed, raw, unfiltered, undeniable. She tapped the screen and called for a private conference with Earth's delegation. Within moments, a cluster of grim-faced officials assembled around her. This was the 12th colony outpost on Mars, Elena began, voice steady but edged with ice. The Galactic Federation's 9th Legion carried out this assault. A grizzled military officer, General Harun Kadeen, clenched his fists. Children! Innocent civilians! It was meant to be a routine pacification operation. Routine? Elena echoed bitterly. They massacred children, General. The Federation justifies this as necessary. Her gaze swept the room, locking with each member's. We cannot let this stand. One delegate, a civilian diplomat named Lyra Chin, voiced what many thought. If we push too hard, we risk war. The Federation's military power dwarfs ours. Elena's eyes flashed. War might already be here. The council chamber's heavy doors opened suddenly. A messenger entered, breathless. Ambassador Maris, the council insists on a statement. They want you to calm the public. Elena stood, voice cold steel. There is nothing to calm. This is not a diplomatic crisis. This is an act of war against humanity itself. Later, alone in her private quarters, Elena studied the footage again. Faces of the dead haunted her, so young, so defenseless. She thought of her own niece, just a child, safe on Earth but not shielded from what was happening. Her communicator chimed. It was an encrypted message from the colony's survivors. Ambassador, a shaky voice began. The soldiers came without warning. We begged for mercy. They shot the children first. Elena clenched her jaw. We will make them answer for this. I promise you. The next day, Elena addressed the Galactic Council, her hologram glowing before a sea of indifferent alien faces. Your soldiers have stained this galaxy with innocent blood. These children were not combatants, but victims of fear and arrogance. Earth demands justice, not apologies, but accountability. A cold, synthesized voice interrupted. The Federation views the colony as insurgent territory. Hostile elements were present. Elena's glare was fierce enough to silence even the most hardened representatives. Hostility does not justify slaughter. The Federation delegate responded with icy disdain. Your human emotions cloud your judgment. Order is maintained through strength. Weakness invites chaos. Elena's reply was a razor-edged promise. Humanity will not bow to tyranny masked as order. Back on Earth, protests erupted. Streets flooded with voices demanding retaliation. Citizens carried banners that read, Justice for the Martian children, and No more subjugation. Elena met with Earth's Prime Minister. The Council urges patience, but patience is not an option. We must prepare, both diplomatically and militarily. He sighed heavily. War would cost millions. So would submission. She left the meeting with a new resolve. The time for careful words was over. That evening, she visited the makeshift memorial for the children outside the United Earth Embassy on Luna. Flowers lay amid glowing candles, their soft light a fragile defiance against the cold shadows. A grieving father approached her, voice breaking. They took my son. How do we fight this evil? Elena knelt, eyes steady. By standing together. By showing the galaxy that Earth will protect its own, no matter the cost. In that moment, the diplomat's role shifted. No longer merely a voice of peace, Elena became the guardian of a wounded humanity, ready to ignite a fire that would change the course of history. The massacre had shattered peace. But from the shards, a new resolve was forged, unyielding, fierce, and ready to roar. The Galactic Council's chamber was a fortress of cold glass and steel, perched on Luna's jagged rim. Ambassador Elena Maris entered with a measured step, her expression carved from iron. Behind the diplomatic veneer, every fiber of her being burned with urgency. Today's meeting was critical, a confrontation disguised as protocol. Her seat faced the Federation's envoy, a tall figure clad in sharp, midnight black armor, eyes unreadable beneath a metallic helm. The envoy's name was Commander Yarrick Volan, a trusted lieutenant of General Vorik Trell, and a master of measured threats disguised as words. Ambassador Maris, Volan began, voice smooth and calculated. The Federation regrets the unfortunate incident on Mars. However, the colony was a hub for insurgent activity. Our forces acted within the bounds of military necessity. Elena's eyes narrowed, but her voice stayed even. Military necessity does not grant license to slaughter children. These were civilians, helpless children. Volan's tone cooled. Collateral damage in pacification operations is regrettable, but unavoidable. The Federation's priority is maintaining order in unstable regions. Elena leaned forward, her words sharp as a blade. Order built on the graves of innocents breeds rebellion, not peace. Across the chamber, council delegates shifted uncomfortably. Some masked distaste, others opened sympathy. The tension tightened like a wire. Is this the Federation's official stance? Elena asked, voice low but resolute. Volan's gaze held steady. It is the reality of interstellar governance. The Federation's reach is vast. Human colonies are but one thread in a sprawling web. Insurgency threatens stability everywhere. Elena's jaw clenched. You see humans as insignificant pests to be crushed. We see ourselves as a species worthy of respect and survival. The envoy's lips curled into something like a smirk. Respect is earned through strength, Ambassador. Your people's naivety endangers the fragile peace. Elena refused to blink. Strength without conscience is tyranny. And tyranny sows the seeds of its own destruction. Volan's communicator beeped softly. He glanced down, then said, General Trell sends his regards and expects your cooperation. I cooperate with those who seek peace, not butchers. Elena replied, voice rising slightly. As the session adjourned, Elena's mind raced. This conversation revealed the Federation's unyielding stance. No remorse, no willingness to admit fault. Diplomacy was a fragile mask, barely concealing an iron fist. Later that evening, Elena met privately with Earth's Council of Defense. In a dimly lit war room, holograms of ships and battlefields rotated slowly. Around the table, generals and strategists debated quietly but urgently. Ambassador, the Federation's defiance is absolute, General Kadim said. Their forces outgun us 5-1. Elena's voice was steady but unyielding. Then we must fight smarter, not harder. Our scientists have developed new defensive tech, plasma shields, stealth fighters, advanced AI command systems. We're not defenseless. The room stirred. A younger officer, Lieutenant Mara Jensen, added, Our drone fleets can infiltrate Federation supply lines, disrupt their communications. We've identified weak points. Elena nodded approvingly. We will use every advantage. But first, we exhaust diplomatic channels. War must be last resort. General Kadim shook his head. Time is not on our side. The Federation grows bolder. They'll strike again unless stopped. Elena glanced at the tactical maps, her mind already racing ahead. I'll return to the Council. We push harder for sanctions for allies. We need the galaxy to see the Federation's cruelty. Back in her quarters, a secure line flickered to life. It was a message from the Martian survivors. Ambassador, the Federation patrols have tightened. We fear another raid. We need protection. Elena's chest tightened. Hold fast. Earth will respond. I swear it. That night she drafted a public address. Her hologram was broadcast across Earth and lunar colonies. To the people of Earth and our allies throughout the stars, the Galactic Federation's recent actions are a stain on justice and humanity. We will not let the screams of our children be silenced by fear or indifference. Earth calls on the Council and all galactic nations to stand united against this brutality. We demand accountability and prepare to defend ourselves, whatever the cost. Her words ignited fierce debate. Some called for immediate retaliation, others urged caution. News outlets debated endlessly. Streets filled with protests and vigils. The world watched, breath held. The following day, Elena received a coded invitation from the Federation, a direct holographic meeting with General Vorik Trell himself. It was a challenge, and an opportunity. As she prepared, Elena thought of the fragile line she walked, between diplomat and warrior, between peace and war. The Federation wanted submission. She would show them unyielding resolve. The chamber darkened. Her image shimmered into the Federation's command ship orbiting Mars. General Vorik Trell's grim visage appeared. Ambassador Maris, he intoned, voice gravelly and cold. You speak of innocence and justice, yet your colonies harbor rebels. Your species is impulsive, quick to condemn, slow to understand. Elena met his gaze, unflinching. Justice demands that the innocent be protected, not sacrificed. Vorik's eyes gleamed with disdain. You mistake mercy for weakness. The galaxy is not kind to the weak. Your children's deaths are the price of defiance. She felt fury surge but controlled it. You wage war on our future, and that war ends now. Earth will not kneel. Vorik's laugh was hollow. We shall see, Ambassador. We shall see. The transmission ended abruptly. Elena stood alone, the silence of the chamber pressing down. The Federation's message was clear: they did not fear Earth. They saw humanity as a challenge to be crushed. But Elena's resolve hardened. If diplomacy was a mask, she would shatter it, and reveal Earth's true strength beneath. The path ahead was treacherous, lined with uncertainty and peril. But one truth remained absolute: humanity would fight. And Elena Maris would lead that fight, diplomat and warrior united in purpose. As the moon's pale light spilled across her desk, she whispered to the empty room. We are not afraid. And with that, the game had truly begun. The sharp hum of the command center was a stark contrast to the weight pressing down on Ambassador Elena Maris as she stood before the sprawling digital map of the solar system. Flickering dots marked Earth's colonies, their fates balanced on the edge of an invisible blade. Outside, Luna's barren surface gleamed coldly beneath the unblinking stars, indifferent to the turmoil unfolding within the walls of the Earth Galactic Council. Elena! General Kadim's voice broke the silence, steady and grave. The Federation's refusal to admit wrongdoing leaves us no choice but to prepare for conflict. Their military presence near our borders has increased by nearly 40% in the last fortnight. She nodded without looking away from the glowing schematics. They're tightening the noose. A young officer, Lieutenant Mara Jensen, stepped forward, fingers dancing across a holographic console. Our drone surveillance has detected new Federation patrols setting up advanced sensor arrays along Mars' equatorial regions. They're preparing for something big. Elena's eyes narrowed. Reconnaissance or invasion? We can't say for certain, but their deployment pace suggests a coordinated offensive. The room fell silent. Every face bore the weight of grim inevitability. Elena turned to address the gathered council. We've exhausted diplomatic channels. The Federation's iron fist hides beneath their silver tongue. Earth's defense forces must mobilize immediately, but discreetly. General Kadim's jaw tightened. Mobilize discreetly? Against an enemy that watches every move? Exactly, Elena replied. We can't afford to start an open war just yet. But we can disrupt their operations, hit their supply lines, sabotage their communications. We fight shadows until we're ready to face the storm. A strategist's map zoomed in, revealing a web of supply routes connecting Federation bases in the asteroid belt. These are their lifelines, Jensen said. We've developed specialized drones equipped with stealth tech to infiltrate and disable key nodes. Elena allowed a faint smile. Good. And what of our new plasma shields? They've passed all field tests, Kadim answered. We can deploy them on frontier colonies and critical stations. They'll absorb direct energy attacks, giving our fleets a fighting chance. Her mind flicked back to the massacre, the innocent lives lost fueling her resolve. We must show the galaxy that humanity is not defenseless. The conversation shifted as a data feed crackled to life. Elena's communicator displayed a secure video message from the Martian survivors. Ambassador, a weary woman spoke, voice laced with fear. The Federation's patrols are relentless. We hide by day, but by night, we hear the whispers of raids to come. Elena's chest tightened. We will act to protect you. Hold on. That night, the Earth Galactic Council convened an emergency session broadcasted discreetly to Allied systems. Elena delivered a stirring address. The Federation's cruelty knows no bounds. They strike without warning, targeting the innocent to break our spirit. But humanity will not falter. We are preparing defensive measures and covert operations to safeguard our people and push back against this aggression. The speech ignited fierce debates. Some factions warned that escalation risked total war. Others urged immediate retaliation. Elena knew the delicate balance she must maintain. War is the last recourse, but we cannot wait until our colonies are lost. We will strike where it counts, not with brute force, but precision and resolve. Days later, deep within a secure facility beneath Luna's surface, Elena joined a covert meeting of Earth's elite special operations commanders. The air was thick with tension. Commander Rajesh Patel addressed the group. Our intel confirms the Federation's vulnerabilities. Supply convoys depend heavily on asteroid mining hubs. We can disrupt these, cutting their resources and slowing their advances. Elena nodded, scanning the room. You understand the stakes. Every mission risks lives, but every success buys time for our defenses. Lieutenant Jensen tapped her wrist console. We've developed autonomous stealth drones capable of infiltrating enemy bases undetected. The first deployment is ready. Rajesh's expression hardened. The Federation won't take these attacks lightly. Retaliation will be swift. Elena's voice was firm. They started this with children's blood. We respond to protect the future. As plans solidified, Elena's communicator pinged with a secure message from a high-ranking Federation defector. I know you seek peace, the voice whispered. But the Federation's military council is divided. Not all agree with Vorik-Trell's brutal methods. I can provide intel to weaken their command. Elena's heart quickened. Arrange a secure meeting. This could change everything. Amid the growing preparations, Elena grappled with Earth's internal divisions. Some politicians advocated delaying military action, fearing catastrophic losses. At a tense council session, Senator Marisol Vance challenged her. Ambassador, war will destroy us. Diplomacy still holds a chance. Elena met her gaze unflinchingly. Senator, if diplomacy fails, survival demands strength. We cannot watch our children die waiting for peace that the Federation will never offer. The room buzzed with murmurs, but Elena's conviction silenced doubts. One night, as Elena prepared for rest, her secure line blinked again. The Martian survivor's voice trembled. Ambassador, another attack is imminent. We don't know how much longer we can hold. Elena's fingers tightened on the console. Help is on the way. We will protect you. The shadows of war deepened. Earth was no longer the quiet backwater it once was. It was becoming a battlefield where every silent strike, every covert mission, could decide the fate of humanity. Elena stood by the viewport, staring at the stars. The darkness beyond was vast, but so was her resolve. Humanity had been pushed to the brink. Now, in the shadows, it was preparing to fight back. The moment Earth had prepared for finally arrived. The first tendrils of dawn crept over Luna's jagged horizon, painting the barren landscape in muted gold. Inside the command center, the atmosphere was electric with tension. Ambassador Elena Maris stood before a panoramic array of star charts and fleet movements, her face illuminated by the cold glow of tactical displays. Around her, the hum of urgent activity filled the room as commanders coordinated the largest mobilization in human history. Status report, Elena demanded, voice steady despite the whirlwind inside. Lieutenant Mara Jensen stepped forward, her fingers flying over the console. Our stealth drone strike teams have successfully disabled 3 major Federation supply depots in the asteroid belt. Communications have been severely disrupted. Confusion is spreading among their ranks. General Kadim nodded, eyes sharp. The Federation is retaliating. They've dispatched 2 cruiser fleets toward Mars and the outer colonies. We're preparing plasma shield deployments and fighter squadrons to intercept. Elena's jaw tightened. This is what we warned them would happen. We acted decisively to protect our people. The holographic map pulsed with red alerts, Federation vessels closing in on key human installations. Outside the war room, Earth citizens across cities and colonies watched live broadcasts of Elena's solemn announcement. To all who cherish freedom. Her voice echoed, unwavering. Earth declares that the era of submission is over. We will defend our children, our homes, and our dignity with every resource at our disposal. The Federation's reign of terror ends now. Cheers and chants erupted in streets thousands of miles away, voices united in defiance. Back in the command center, Elena felt the weight of every life hanging in the balance. She was no longer just a diplomat but the face of humanity's resistance. The first battle erupted near the Martian orbit. Fleets clashed with blazing plasma and thunderous explosions. Earth's newly shielded ships absorbed volleys that would have shattered older vessels. Fighters darted through space, weaving deadly patterns around hulking cruisers. In the midst of the chaos, Elena watched live feeds from the front lines. One squadron, led by Commander Rajesh Patel, executed a daring assault on a Federation command ship. Their precise strike crippled the enemy's flagship communications, sowing chaos. Rajesh's team is holding, Jensen reported. They're buying us critical time. But the cost was immediate. Scenes flashed of battered ships, brave pilots lost in the void. Elena clenched her fists, the price of war brutal and unforgiving. Amid the battle, Elena received reports of sabotage across the Federation's minor allied systems. Diplomatic channels had cracked, with some states turning their allegiance to Earth. Her strategic outreach had begun to erode the Federation's once unshakable coalition. In the war room, tension tightened as an emergency alert sounded. Federation ground forces have launched a surprise assault on the lunar colony's mining facilities, a technician reported. Elena's eyes sharpened. Defend the colony at all costs. Within hours, the barren tunnels echoed with the clash of battle, human soldiers and Federation invaders locked in desperate combat for control of the lifeline to Earth's resources. Elena's communicator crackled with the voice of Lieutenant Mara Jensen. We have reports from Martian survivors. The Federation is executing scorched Earth tactics, destroying infrastructure to deny us supplies. Elena's voice hardened. Their brutality will not break us. That night, as Luna's thin atmosphere shielded the command center, Elena convened a meeting with Earth's political leaders. The war's toll was already palpable. Debates over strategy became heated. Senator Marisol Vance confronted her again. Ambassador, every day of conflict brings more suffering. Have we truly exhausted all options? Elena met her gaze without hesitation. We have exhausted patience. The Federation chose war the moment they massacred our children. Vance's voice lowered. Still, we must prepare for the possibility that this fight will last years. Elena nodded. And we will endure as long as it takes. Days later, a breakthrough came through encrypted communications. The Federation's fractured leadership was showing signs of straying. Vorik Trell's harsh tactics had sown dissent among his commanders. A defector's message revealed weaknesses in the Federation's supply chains and internal command conflicts. Elena seized the moment. She authorized a coordinated series of strikes targeting the Federation's logistical hubs, amplifying the chaos already engulfing their forces. Simultaneously, Earth's diplomats leveraged these divisions, working quietly to peel away neutral systems from the Federation's orbit. But war's savagery cut both ways. News arrived of civilian casualties on both sides, tragic reminders of the conflict's human cost. Elena stood alone in her quarters, gazing out at the stars. The faces of fallen children haunted her dreams. Yet the fire in her heart burned brighter than ever. A message interrupted her thoughts. The Martian survivors once more. "Ambassador, your people fight bravely. You give us hope." Her reply was a vow. "We fight for all of humanity, and for the promise of peace beyond this war." As the conflict raged, Elena understood that victory would demand sacrifice, resilience, and an unbreakable will. The flames of retribution had been ignited. Now, humanity's spirit would be tested, but never extinguished. The silence after the storm was almost unbearable. Ambassador Elena Maris stood on the observation deck of Earth's flagship, the Resolute, orbiting the battered remnants of the Federation's 9th Legion command ship. The war had dragged on longer than anyone had dared hope, but now, the tide had turned decisively. The shattered enemy flagship, crippled and without command, drifted like a ghost among the stars. "Commander Patel reports the Federation fleet is in disarray," Lieutenant Jensen announced from the tactical console. "Their vessels are retreating or surrendering. Morale is collapsing." Elena exhaled slowly, a mix of relief and sorrow tightening her chest. "At what cost?" she murmured, recalling the endless nights filled with loss and grief. General Kadim approached, his expression somber but resolute. "This victory didn't come free. Thousands of lives sacrificed, soldiers and civilians alike. But it was necessary." Elena nodded. "Necessary to preserve the future." The battle's end was only the beginning of a new struggle, to rebuild, to heal, and to ensure justice. A summit had been called on Luna to negotiate the Federation's surrender and set the terms for lasting peace. Elena entered the vast council chamber, the same cold halls where months ago she had faced the Federation's cold indifference. Now, those walls echoed with a different energy, cautious hope mixed with the unyielding demands of a people who had fought to be heard. Vorik Trell, gaunt and stripped of much authority, sat across from her. His eyes held grudging respect, but also the bitterness of defeat. "Ambassador," he began, voice hoarse, "your people fought fiercely. The Federation underestimated humanity's will." Elena met his gaze evenly. "The Federation underestimated humanity's heart." The delegates listened as she laid out Earth's terms: accountability for the massacre, reparations for destroyed colonies, and a restructuring of the Galactic Council to give humanity a stronger voice. Some Federation representatives protested, clinging to old power. But Elena's steely resolve and the visible scars of war silenced dissent. Outside the chamber, survivors of the Martian massacre watched from secure quarters, their faces weary but hopeful. Elena sought them out, kneeling to meet their eyes. "We have won a chance to rebuild," she said softly, "and to ensure no child ever suffers as yours did." A mother grasped Elena's hand, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Thank you for fighting for us. For our children." Elena smiled, though her heart ached. "It was not just my fight. It was humanity's fight." In the weeks that followed, hearings were held, trials commenced for those responsible for war crimes, and alliances reshaped. Humanity's newfound status in the Galactic Council shifted the balance of power. Yet, as celebrations bloomed, Elena remained vigilant. Standing once more on Luna's surface, she gazed upward. The stars no longer seemed so distant, nor so indifferent. "We have proven we belong," she whispered. "Not as victims, but as equals." Her communicator chimed, a message from Earth's Prime Minister. "Congratulations, Ambassador. You have led us through darkness. Now the real work begins." Elena straightened, determination blazing anew. The path ahead would be long and fraught, but humanity had awakened. Their voice echoed through the galaxy, a promise of resilience, dignity, and hope. The dawn of humanity had arrived, fierce, unyielding, and ready to shape the stars.